All right, next track. Let's talk that M to the O to the BB featuring Big Noid. This is vintage Havoc from top to bottom. Dark sample hit that kind of rings out for like 4 bars. Very simplistic, sinister, yet effective. There's a subtle vocal sample there layered beneath, adding like a very eerie experience to it. A bass patch fills the low end perfectly but doesn't clutter the mix. Truncated snare, meaning that like the air is cut off at the end. Tight end as far as the high end goes. Kick kind of thumps, reminiscent of like your neighbor stomping from the floor above. The hook is money, very catchy, reminiscent of or paying homage to the Neptunes produced track for the Bad Boy CEO back in, I believe, '99. And it was great to hear Big Noid on it. He opened the track up. It's like family business. If anyone deserved to be on this album, of anyone connected to Mobb Deep, it was Big Noid. And I'm glad that they made that happen. Havoc sounds powerful, steady tone, precise aggression. Flow is very patient. He didn't waste any bars on here at all. Prodigy verse starts off pretty soft and laid back in a sense, almost reflective. A nod to Nas's do-rags off the Lost Tapes before snapping right back into what he typically does and sharing his dark realities of what he's witnessed, what's around him, or just dropping some jewels. This joint knocks hard. One of the best songs on the album to me, and I absolutely don't have any skips on this album, so it definitely was a pleasure to listen to. Has that nostalgic feel as far as like gritty Mobb Deep, but there's evolution there too with the way Havoc produced certain things and placed it within the track. M to the O to the BB is fire. Next track we got Down for You featuring Nas and Georgia Smith. The moment I heard this, like even the drum pattern, the feel, I immediately thought about It's Mine with like a romantic element added to it, you know. The tambourine sits perfectly on top of the snare, adding like a little shimmer to the rhythm. Kick has presence, full and centered, paired with a bass line that stays right in pocket. You can feel it. It's heard, but it's not overbearing in a sense, right? Intentional sequencing, I think maybe the star of this particular track. What am I talking about? Havoc opens up the song, followed by Nas and then Prodigy. It gives the track kind of like a balance and a flow, you know? And Havoc and Nas set the tone, speaking about like relationship aspects or from their standpoint, adding their maturity and like a different perspective. But then P goes, right? And he brings about like a certain duality where he speaks about streaks, is introspective while having some lines about relationships, for lack of a better term, keeping the energy grounded. But here's the thing, the attention to detail, I spoke about how, you know, the sequencing or the order in which they went was to highlight the song. If P goes first like he's done in many of the songs on the album, it would have changed the entire vibe. They were able to set the tone and then use the verse that they had featuring P or P's verse to accent what the concept was already about, which was put in place by Nas and Havoc. So by the time P starts to rhyme, even though he has some aggressive moments in there, him sprinkling in certain things about relationships or dealing with the opposite sex fits perfectly, if you understand what I'm saying. Nas is in his 99 bag here, went back to murder music, smooth, confident, sharp, witty. It was just a pleasure to hear that, you know what I'm saying? And he has some jewels in there too. The track feels grown, soulful, very calculated, and proof that evolution doesn't mean kind of like losing your edge. When I first heard this joint, I ran it back quite a few times before I went on to the next joint, Real Rap. Next up, we have Taj Mahal. I did a reaction about this song when it first dropped, but I'll give a brief overview of what I heard within the album. It's sequenced perfectly, you know, coming after Down For You and this comes on. I like how that flows. Believe I said it was like a melodic pop sample, like the Carpenters or something like that from like maybe the 50s, 60s, or 70s. Alchemist does what he does best. He can make something feel soulful, sad, while also being upbeat. It's amazing. He has a unique ear. Tight minimal drums, deep kick, like a crisp rim shot, subtle loop variations add texture without clutter. Havoc's flow is clean, pocket, relaxed. Hook feels like pure Prodigy. The tone, the phrasing, prototypical P. Also, I had mentioned in the previous video that I thought that the hook came from a previous verse, and that intentionality or that focus or just the wherewithal to take that portion to make it the hook was genius in itself, because that's the type of hook that P would actually lay down. So Taj Mahal sounds even better on the album, man. I liked it when it came out. I thought it was fire, but hearing it in the sequence of the album, I like it even more, man. So salute to them brothers, man. Next track, we got Mr. Magic. Yo, Mr. Magic getting a lot of love out here, man. A lot of people talking about this record. For me, when I first heard it, on my reaction would be like, simplicity wins again. The quintessential Queen sound, man. Don't take a bunch of elements, man, to make beautiful music or lasting and timely music. Havoc builds around a single note that moves like a walking bass line. You know what I'm saying? A touch of a flange or maybe light reverb gives it some depth. I believe it's a shaker or maraca laid down with 16th notes, but there's a swing on it, adds a little groove to it. Drums match. That's something we have to start speaking about too. People do production. Sometimes it can sound like you got a kick from a soft rock sample, and then you'll have a snare from a gospel quartet record, and they don't match. You know what I'm saying? Like Havoc drums always match. They sound as if they're from the same drum kit. Kick and snare carry the same tone. Around the second hook, he drops out the top line melody, revealing how layered the beat truly is. So what I mean by drops, it can be simplistic, and there could be some elements happening within the track, but you won't realize until they drop out certain portions. Nothing's clashing, you know? I believe like an 808 bass patch hits on the 1 3rd measure, classic touch. You can't help but think like, this is the type of joint I would have loved to hear 50 Cent on Magic 2. This type of pocket right here, you know? This is Havoc's pocket. The chemistry between Havoc and Prodigy is effortless. Once again, I think I repeated how many times that it sounds as though they were actually in the studio sessions together. Posthumous album, that's one of the furthest things that come to your mind listening to this album. This is the new standard. They are definitely in sync. So, Mr. Magic, man, for those who are speaking about this record, I totally understand why you like it so much. This is a banger. Next joint, where we got Score Points. Alchemist doing his thing once again, showing out here. The guitar fusion intro. Here's the thing with that. When you first listen to that intro, that's something he would have given Griselda, looped it up just like that, and they would have rhymed on it. And people would have said it was the best thing since sliced bread. It's not bad, but when he comes on home, the Mobb Deep, and he adds those drums, that's when his sound is elevated. You know what I'm saying? It's pure Mobb Deep. Piano loop built slowly. Minor chords filtered like an old horror flick. That's the experience or the feeling that you get, at least for me. Heavy kick, a full snare, orchestral stabs. It's gritty, dirty, but yet cinematic. Around maybe the 1 minute 18 mark, there's a fade in effect, like a dusty bass patch crawling in, adds a different texture to the track. Prodigy, once again, in conversational rap mode. It's like he's sitting directly next to you or me and having a conversation, you know? Havoc's verse, elite pacing, deliberate tone, and his intensity rises gradually, you know what I'm saying? Small increments. Alchemist adds like a buried vocal ad-lib underneath that kind of like shapes the mood throughout the entire track though. It's there. Once again, one of those things, if you remove it, you can hear the difference. But while it's playing, it's not clashing with any other elements. Score points, man. I don't know what it is about this album, but we hear a lot of albums that say no skips because they're good songs, right? But I think even though these are good songs, I think maybe the highlight of this album, the more I listen to it, could be, or one of the highlights is the sequencing. Nothing sounds out of order. I gotta commend those brothers, man. Havoc, Alchemist, Sean C, whomever else was in that studio, putting in that time, that pain to put together this masterpiece, man. Next track, we got My Era. Programming sounds like a live breakbeat with a cymbal, ride cymbal playing the bottom portion of it. A tom roll at the loop's end, right before it resolves. Just listening to that, the sample itself, it just brought me back to like watching like an 80s drama or a cop show as an officer chased down the suspect in an abandoned building. That's the type of joint that would have been playing, man. Like, as far as the verses go, Havoc was very witty, very controlled, a veteran's confidence. The hook stands out, very reflective, peaceful, yet mature. He's acknowledging the past even when differences existed. That's growth. That's Prodigy I'm speaking of. Listen to some of the names he's saying. You know what I'm saying? Some people will act like your music was trash because y'all didn't see eye to eye, which is some of the corniest stuff I've ever witnessed. And like, you can't take away somebody's talent or their gift or their contributions just because you don't per se like them as an individual. At least I try to separate the two, you know what I'm saying? And I love the fact that he was able to grow from that whenever he recorded that and speak on the individuals or give them their flowers from his era, you know? His delivery, Prodigy, feels calm but powerful. Intentionality is the name of the game on this album, man. And this song, My Era, definitely speaks on that, man. Or definitely highlights that. Next track, Pour the Henny. This seems to be a lot of people's favorite track. For me, I posted about it. It's just, these three don't miss, you know. NAS and Mobb, they put them together. And you're going to get something fire. Very peaceful, spiritual-like sample, right? Sounds like a male choir in a cathedral. And as a listener, it sounds as though you're in the back row. And as a male chorus sing, it's just a soprano or the alto section, baritone, the tenors aren't singing at all. And those vocals are bouncing off the wall. You know what I'm saying? That's the experience of the feeling I got listening to it. Heavy reverb gives it that echoing feel. Snare, punchy, kick is tight and centered. Very emotional listening to the song, if I might add. Prodigy's verse sounds like an autobiography, you know. He's speaking about what he's encountered, what he's witnessed. It's almost like, yo, I'm at peace. I did this, I did that. Things people, or many people, a very small percentage of people will ever be able to do what he's done. And he sounds content. And hearing that was it's a little heavy there, you know. Very reflective, heartfelt, poetic. That's another word. Yeah, he's like summarizing his journey. Pour the Henny, that's fire, man. Havoc's hook is beautiful. It's got some pride in there, it's motivational. Clean bridge to the core. The Nas enters and he said a line, what did he say? You can be bored to death or even die laughing. I was like, wow, that something that simple, but it's a fire opening line. It's those type of things that make you think. And then when you kind of like play that against P's verse, it's like P is giving you autobiography, and Nas is giving you narration of things that you could experience in life. Not his life per se, but just an overview general, you know. I think that was great, and that's intentionality once again, man. He's a writer's writer, so there's no way in the world that what he did in his verse was a coincidence. The chemistry between Nas and P is underrated. Many people love to talk about Nas and AZ. Beautiful songs together. But I've always said, and I will always believe, that no other rapper pushed Nas, as far as collaborations go, more than Prodigy. Do the homework, do the math, for real. This is a wonderful track, man. Porter Henny, it feels like Queens. And I know I say Queens a lot because Queens had a sound once upon a time. Doesn't mean that everybody can enjoy it. I'm not making it seem like it's some secret society or something, but they had a sound. And this would fit perfectly into that. And I believe that P's verse, all their verses, but that P's verse was definitely the highlight of this, at least for the listeners, right? Everybody did their thing, but hearing P in that state, knowing where we are presently, it was like, wow, this is like pre-recorded vocals. It's a quick reminder that he's no longer here, and who am I to say? Maybe this is the last time we're gonna hear anything from him. So that verse right here was like the first time where I was like, well, wow, we gotta cherish this, you know? Porter Henny.
Hey, yo, E!